Hi, I'm making the video for the earbuds. So my name is Amber Ford. I work for Lufkin ISD at Kurth Primary. I teach second grade math. And we're in Lufkin, Texas. This is my first year here, but this is my 13th year teaching. I started a career in education. I kind of like to say that teaching found me. I graduated with a degree in family child development from Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches. And I never wanted to be a teacher until I couldn't find a job. So I started substitute teaching and I just fell in love with it. So I went back and got my alternative certification and I have loved it ever since. Stephen F. Austin State University in Nacogdoches. And I never wanted to be a teacher until I couldn't find a job. So I started substitute teaching and I just fell in love with it. So I went back and got my alternative certification and I have loved it ever since. If I could have any other job, it would probably be a chef or a baker. I love to cook. I think food makes people happy. Well, good food makes people happy. I like to cook. I like to cook I have two boys. Love to be in the kitchen with them. My nephews love to cook. The men in my family like to cook typically more than the women, which is interesting. So I've always cooked with my dad and my brother. And it makes me happy to make something that makes people happy. And that's what I would do if I weren't a teacher, I think. How are kids different now than 30 years ago? Oh my word. Well, I was a kid 30 years ago. I'm 41. I think so much about everything that has changed in society has changed kids. Technology has definitely opened so many experiences for them, but so many scary things too. And as a parent and as a teacher, I really try to prepare my kids for that. They have every drop of information that they could ever want at their fingertips, and some of them are very eager to find everything they can. Some of it gets them into trouble. Some of it, a lot of it is so very helpful. But at second grade, I used to teach fourth grade too, and even then, they're kind of too young to tell the difference, so they have to be very closely monitored. But I think that's the biggest thing that I see is a difference from when I was a kid to kids now. And what I have a 10-year-old, well, he's almost 10, and a 3-year-old, and technology has changed everything. Not necessarily bad, but not always good either. Teaching is very different than 30 years ago. My family that loves to cook together, my sister-in-law is a teacher, my brother is a superintendent, and we were talking about it when I first started teaching, and I was like, I don't understand how we learned is not good enough now for the kids today. And he said, if you don't utilize every drop of information that you can from what has changed since then you're not really doing them a service. Because we're teaching kids at a very young age for grades or for jobs that don't exist yet. And so we're kind of doing our best to keep up. But if you think about it, teaching has always been that, but it's looked very different, again, as technology has progressed. And technology is fantastic when it works. When it doesn't, it can make things really difficult if you become reliant on it. But I think teaching is a lot more hands-on. It's a lot more group efforts. It is a lot more sharing with other teachers. It is growing and learning from other teachers. I think before, I've heard teachers say, oh no, you didn't share. 20, 30 years ago, you didn't share your great ideas because you wanted your great ideas for yourself and you wanted people to look at you and go, ooh, that's great. But now I think teachers are more, well, if I have a good idea, I want everybody's kids to benefit from it if this teacher wants to use it. So I think that's probably a difference as well. Number 6, what would you tell someone right now that is thinking about becoming a teacher? I actually thought about this. I looked over these questions before I did this a couple of days ago. And I think what I would tell someone is, I know it's hard right now with the pandemic, but get into a classroom, volunteer at a school, try to get some observation hours and a grade that you're interested in teaching. Because I've had people come into class thinking they wanted to be a teacher, and then after one day they're like, nope, this is not for me. And be very self-aware of that kind of thing. But also, if this is what you decide to do, you have to come at it from an absolute place of love. You have to come at it from, you care about these kids as little people, not as students running through your classroom, because you're going to have 20 new kids every year, but you have to come out at it from a place of absolute love for these kids, and absolute, you want them to be successful. You want them to feel loved. You want them to learn respect. Even in your discipline, don't ever do it out of anger. And you're going to experience that. You're going to get angry, even if they're 5 years old. I taught kindergarten for 10 years. You're going to get angry at these kids. You have to back up. You have to not react in situations. You have to think about how you're going to handle it, and you have to do what's best for the kid every time. You have to love that kid enough to do what's best for it, no matter how frustrating they are. So if you don't have a heart for it, don't do it, because those are somebody's babies. If you don't have a heart for it, find something you have a heart for, because if you don't have a heart for it, again, you're not going to be happy in the job, because you can't learn to have a heart for something. It's what your heart is, or it isn't. And the last thing is, what is one thing you would change to help kids learn better? Gosh, I don't know. And every class is different, and I have to adapt every single year to the kids that I have. With that said, I would change class size if I could, but that's not always. I mean, you have the babies you have, and every year I pray that God gives me the kids that need me, that I can really help through whatever situation, but also the kids that I need, because you can definitely learn from your students, and they will teach you if you will listen. And it's just about how to deal with different situations and different family types and all kinds of stuff. But one thing I would change to help kids learn better, I think schools get into a habit of going, oh, we found this new great curriculum, we're going to do this, but still use the 3 that you used previously. I think being in Texas, we have the TEKS, and I love the TEKS. They are clear, they are concise, they're not vague at all. But I think everybody kind of has their favorite curriculum, and when new principals come in and they leave, and changing administration is difficult for everybody, and every new principal, I have my master's, I want to do it. Every new principal wants to put their stamp on things. But I think getting some consistent curriculum, good curriculum that cuts out the fluff and the extra stuff that the kids don't need, I think that would be a fantastic way to help kids learn better and help teachers teach better. So I hope this is what you're looking for. Looking forward to my earbuds. Thank you for doing this, and I appreciate it.